Would you be so kind as to turn on that TV? Now, all in the middle, underneath the red light, there's a button. Thank you. If I use my remote, it will turn your TV off and mine on.
So you need a.
Yeah. Probably need to do a Zoom meeting or a
Sometimes in the summer, we're cold, and in the winter, we're hot.
Is Keith here? Oh, is Keith here? Do you know? All right.
I can walk in here and sit.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, Mandy, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. When
I was in rodeo.
It was good. It was good.
Hey, Scott, yeah. I think, hello? Okay, no more.
That's good, Sandy. It quit.
I had to mute my audio.
He didn't like listening to us say. How you doing?
Good, how are you guys?
Good, thank you. Good.
Thank you so much. Watched it and everything.
That is not good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you.
There's a water.
So every year. Yes.
I've been working on it since May. May, June, July, August, or then that's actually. Yeah.
I'm doing, I go to the other side. I had to do a top, I'm doing street, I'm not gonna wait this morning.
He'll be here in just a second. He had to carry some stuff down.
Okay, thank you for letting me know. I wasn't sure.
He's in the building.
Elvis is in the building, huh?
Yeah.
Hey,
You better turn that on.
all right, I will call this meeting to order. It is 9:06. This is the budget workshop. And what I want to start out with is to give an overview of where we're at on the all the meetings we've had so far and all of the expenditures that we have approved. And this is a spreadsheet that Sandy put together, and this is, let me see if I can get to it. Okay, this is basically by department, and what it does is it shows the 2025 budget, and then the 2024 budget, and then the dollar change for each category. And I'm not, I'll just highlight the ones of the major increases or decreases. You'll see under contracts, we went up $76,000. A lot of that has to do with insurance and other major items that we have to contract for. The district court, you see this on the adult district court is minus 341, but it moved down to the county court right here. So you'll see basically the increase was about $50,000 for mostly for indigent care, indigent legal, and also for the administration. CPS court is moving to the county court at law. So that's where the majority of that came. DA related to hiring of different people. Data processing. We have quite a few new contracts for new software that updates and upgrades and equipment that is doing. So that increased by 114,000. Public buildings went down 191. We had under for major repairs, we had, I think, close to $500,000, maybe 400,000 in there last year, and we have just $100,000 in there this year. And you'll see on the constables, it goes up and down because of the car. Tommy and Jeff both got new vehicles this year, so that their budget goes down by that much, and then Heath is in line for a new vehicle next year, and so that's why that went up. So there's no major other changes. You got all these different ones. Collection. Then we go down to the sheriff's, the very end. The sheriff, the jail, an increase of 174,000, and the sheriff's office 121,000, and the fire marshal was 30,000 for so if you look, the 2025 budget, we're at, and this is pretty much the general, does not include road and bridge. We're at budgeted at $19,436,312. Last year we were $18,914,991, a difference of $521,321, or basically a 2.76 increase. So I'm pretty impressed actually with what we have done with a 5% rate increase on personnel. See that 880,000? That includes the insurance. That's how much we went up in salaries, and we went down in our contingency and some of these others, which made it only $500,000 that we've gone up from last year, 2.76%. I'm impressed. I think we have done a great job with this budget, and to be able to get the employees a 5% rate increase. So that's what we've got. Now, the tax assessor, or not tax assessor, the appraisal district has provided us with this letter, which I got Monday, right there. We have been going through the numbers, and we keep having questions, and so, but we think we're not sure where we're at right now, to be quite honest. But we have put together with the latest numbers. Sandy has put together I gotta go find it and open it real quick. What is that in fund balance? So based on the current numbers that she has provided, that is the yeah, I want to show them the fund balance. All right. This is the sheet when we last met. Come on. I'm trying to get it over there. When we last met, we were looking at moving. Come on. It won't go. There we go. Well, when we last met, it was, the numbers were not looking really good right here. So this was, again, you got 2024, what our estimated revenues, estimated expenses, and then what the fund balance would be at the end. And this is what it looks like right now. And before, this number right here was 3.5 million. So what we have done is taken out the $1 million that was in the public buildings for window restoration. And we currently have 400,000 in contingency. So actually, with the current numbers that have been provided to us, our net, taking the contingency out, budget would be go into the fund balance by 794,730. And I think we're pretty much in and I'm not, the target that I was looking at getting at was 1.5 million. That was the target. We're well below that as far as going into the fund balance, because what we have done over all these years is we've done a balanced budget. In other words, the revenues equal to our expenses. And so that there was zero on the bottom line, but at the end of the year, we'd add $1.5 million to our fund balance because we didn't spend all the money that was budgeted for that year. And that's been going on for about 4 or 5 years, which is why our fund balance is so high. So the procedure we started this last year so we budget basically at a 1.5 or $1 million to $1.5 million deficit amount, knowing that we're not going to spend all the money that is budgeted in that year. And that looks like that's what happened this last year. I don't know. We won't know until we get the audit done as far as what the amount is. We'll be back in there. So that is good news right there, if these numbers hold up. So, but the main thing that we have got to do today, in order to for tomorrow's commissioner court meeting, is to decide if the numbers that we have established for the pay raises, actually it's elected official salaries, which is a 5% increase, other than the JPs and the constables, which we agreed to change their rates. The constables to a deputy pay rate, which is what, 55? You remember? Do you have that sheet that I signed yesterday?
You want it? You want a copy of it?
Yes, it'd be nice if I put it up on the screen, but did you email that to me?
You know,
Yeah. Okay,
I've got a copy in my computer.
okay. Email it to me. Then I can put it up on the screen. So this is because of the budget workshop. If you haven't seen this, this is the new budget calendar that we have. We've got to get this announcement for the proposed salary for elected officials in the paper in this weekend, right? This coming weekend. And so, okay, so we just have to go in and approve this, and it includes 5% for everybody except for the justice of the peace, which goes from 55,000, which is our current salary, to 59,750, and the constables go from 48,500 to 55,817. So those are the increases that we agreed on prior to today. And that's what we're going to put in the paper. Is there any comment or discussion? Are we good with that?
I got a comment. Tell
Okay,
me if I'm wrong. You said we went up 2.7%, right?
yes,
So that's good because we get increased by 3.5%, so we stayed under that 3.5%, correct?
well, we don't know. we don't know that we're getting 3.5%. So we're still trying to work down those numbers.
But in a perfect world,
In the current scenario, it does look like that the current scenario is, it does look like we're gonna get about $1 million, which includes the new revenue, the tax off the new property and the 3.5%. That's what it looks like, but it also, under the current scenario, to meet our voter approved rate, we go from, we actually increase the rates, the rate that we charge. Currently, we're at 40.58, and the voter approved rate would go to 41. 42.
Not, because. It's like your county office never had a voter approval rate that was over, right?
Yeah. We're just totally,
yeah, because their day was not their day, it started this, we figured it's gonna be what?
we're gonna drop, 5 cents, and now it looks like it's. So we are trying, before we make any major pronouncements or whatnot, we're verifying the numbers in that regard.
And we have to remember what we're working right now, I was budget.
Right.
We go ahead and post these numbers. And then when we have our public hearing, and y'all, if they're not correct, we'll have to modify the budget, which normally we not. Yeah, the numbers, I've never seen.
So, and we just got them, what, Friday or Monday? Right, and so we're still working, and Sandy found an error on her calculations.
The only way that should happen is if the appraisals went down and the appraisals either held the same or gone up. So, for the most part,
Well,
so that
understand
doesn't add up.
Countywide as an average, you're up by 7%. So it don't add up that we're having to raise the tax rate if the average appraisal was up by 7%.
That's correct. I agree.
okay,
I loaded the worksheets on the. She offered me. There were, I had to correct two numbers on yesterday, and she sent me corrected copies yesterday.
and the email I sent her today, this morning, before we came in here is, this is a letter that I received yesterday. And if you look down here under the frozen tax levy, it shows 3,031,838 for the county. And for the tax levy, it shows a frozen value of 467,875. Last year, both of these frozen were the same at 200
And that was an error on it.
Is that it? Is that all? It's not in the tax sheets? Okay, all right. Then I won't worry about it.
But as a court, I thought we did pretty good if we stayed at 3.5%.
Yeah,
We were done, we it's supposed to raise 3.5%, we only raised 2.7, that's did pretty good.
yeah. And that is, I'm really proud, and that really has to be attributed to all the different departments and their frugality in let's see, trying to find the other one, in what they did with their budgets, and not requesting a lot. I can't get to the other one.
Is she applying an unused increment to this? Is that what's giving us this extra range?
No, we've asked about the unused increments. It's minuscule.
That was one of the problems we had, is the unused increment. So we took that out. It wasn't that.
And there's also a provision that the legislature has established when you have a disaster, you're under a federal disaster, where you can go from a 3.5% to an 8% increase. However, you end up paying it back in the future. And so the attorneys highly recommend that we do not use that feature. There it is. Okay. Yes, so this is what we're talking about. Basically, we managed to do 3%, and or or 2.76%. So, I think we're good with where we're at. And, now getting back to the question, are we all, in agreement, or, shall we move forward tomorrow with the proposed salary for elected officials?
I'm good.
Chad, you good with it? Okay, so we got that part.
5%, right? So,
Yes,
yeah, I'm good.
okay, all right. So we're good with that. And, now, do we want to talk about road and bridge? With these changes that, and I gotta go find the, mouse. You remember that, in the prior one, part of the issue was that we were having to transfer close to $750,000 from the general fund to road and bridge due to get the tax rate to remain at 10 cents. Okay, with these new numbers that we've got, the opposite is occurring, where the tax rate shows to be over 10 cents. And so the money needs to be transferred back into the general fund from road and bridge. So I gotta find, I don't know where I saved it. Let me see. If I can- Mhm.
When you're looking for.
Your PowerPoint? I saved it. Well, maybe I just ought to get it right from the email, and that way I won't have to go find it. So Cindy put together a slide presentation. And again, this is under the assumption that the information that we have been provided is accurate. All right. Yeah,
I like it.
you did good.
It's a smooth road. What precinct's that in?
That desktop roads ain't that good now.
Yeah.
This slide here is where we begin. The revenue rates have changed
Okay.
from at we last met, and now that Emily has sent in the new rates, which again is something that I have not been accustomed to because, and you all have been provided with calculation worksheets in the portal. But she said that the voter approval rate for setting road tax this year is .104,715. Normally, we're right the opposite. Y'all are at like 0.8. And we have to rate y'all, the money goes to the special road tax. Well, this year, the money's already at the road tax rate, so we're gonna have to move money back. This budget was built on moving right at 750,000 to go up to the 10 cent rate. Well, with the number she sent me, that's not gonna happen this year. So you'll go to
Just say
next slide. See, y'all can't read this, I'm sorry. That's the old sheet, so if you wanna go forward, next slide too, I think it's too old. You got three spring and some about 5. This is gonna be the new rate. This is what. the fire district has. That's the road tax. First of all, I had the rate estimated at 0.354 in the road budgets we've been working with. Then Lee came back and she's estimated the voter approval rate at 0.4290200, which is above our last year rate of 0.458. We have an increase. What happened was you lost your money in your special road tax. Because I had to shift it. That's how we got to our numbers to make the general fund get there.
You had to put 7 more cents in the county, right?
In the past, we've been moving it to the special road. This year, we went right the opposite. So you're,
But the funding stayed the same in road and bridge.
actually, you gain money in the road bridge, you know, because you got 20, you know, you got the 25% of the gain.
It went up when it moved over.
Right. So if I'm, it looked like it was, the net effect was, about $500,000 reduction from the 750,000, correct?
Was 753 that we.
Right, moved over.
But we did see, when we were looking at this, when the the adjustment, road and bridge was gonna receive. The special road was gonna receive 5,000,008, now you're only gonna receive 4,000,008, so. Here's the new figures. The lower revenue,
So, and that revenue was basically 500,000 lower than it was
Yes.
before, is what it is.
yes, and that's because you did gain some on the other side, but you lost. on the special. So you know, altogether, it was about 500,000 that you. And I did go in and make a few adjustments on your expenditures. I like to see that fund balance at healthy, like 250. I like to see that, that ensures us that when you get to October, you know, we won't get any October funds in until November. So, you know, you gotta pay your cans through that time, so.
So this is what you're talking about right here,
it's-
ending fund balance. Okay,
So that ensures you that, you know, you can always pay the fees. And those will change because you want to spend all your money, or you may give them a little bit more revenue. But those are just estimated balances that you in the year. I didn't change them very much, I tweaked them just a little bit, and I have the copies for you, you can look at it. And decide. If you're good with it, but we still have.
So-
to use it, just for you, because I didn't understand what she's about. But I just don't understand, I'm trying to see. It's like Chad had said, it looked like the prices went up, but in order for that rate to do what it did, they had to maintain it. You have to maintain those price rates, so. And she's busy, she hasn't responded yet.
So what was the revenue off special road and bridge tax at last year?
Last year,
that was the first slide, wasn't it? In this presentation, let me go back.
um, last year you got 4,000,007.
And what's the proposed this year? From the
I
president,
got 5,800.
do what,
5,800.
5.8 on special road?
No, you're one 4,800. 4,800. Got two sheets.
Right here.
You were gonna be 5,800 when she sent out the new rates, now you're at 4,800. In 2023, my approval rate was 4,700. But that's just the levy. Then I have to add in the frozen taxes and your 3% delinquency, you know. So last year, if you total in the frozen levy and the 3% delinquency in our budget was 4,000,009. this year in our budget will be 5 million for it.
So it's still going up, just not as great as we initially had shown, correct? Okay.
The increase, most of the increase is coming from new property. It's in the frozen levy.
And the total amount of revenue from new property is 200,000, is that correct? Do you remember? I never, the total dollar, the new taxable value was, this is 23.
The new property.
Yeah. So the new property in 2023, last year, the total taxable value was 191,661,739. This year, the total new taxable value was 216,474,195. So it went up about 20, 16, about $25 million. Which,
This year we'll get from new property, we'll get 928,000.
okay.
Geez,
Yeah,
it goes up that much, how come we're,
well, the new property is excluded, isn't it, from the rate calculation? Yeah.
From the non revenue.
Yeah, it's excluded from that.
that doesn't go into next year.
Right.
You take that out. You did, sorry.
So the, not the levy, the actual money we brought in for road and bridge in 2024. Do you know that dollar amount?
What we budgeted.
No,
When we
the,
estimate the revenue would
from the
be,
special road that we,
The tax.
the tax that we
Tax revenue.
collected, do you know that amount? And
How much we collected so far?
Mhm.
No, I don't.
Do you have how much we budgeted to collect?
Special road, we budgeted 5,082,000.
5082,
Yes.
That's what we estimate.
and you're estimating this year we'll do,
5,159. That's the 3% delinquency in there too. The numbers I'm giving you, that's our budget.
And to make it 10 cents, we're gonna have to give some of that back into the general fund. We have to give what, 300,000, 400,000, something like that.
I moved that it's right at 750,000.
But they will still increase over 24 by close to $1 million, correct? Your total revenue will still increase
Right.
close to $1 million, which has been consistent the past 3 years.
and all these budget numbers are based on everything we talked about last time we get in here. The
That's it.
tax number work.
That's it.
Well, we were at 5,000,082 last year. You multiply that by 3%. It comes up a whole lot more than that, and that don't even include my new growth. I mean, there's something way off here.
Well,
It ought to be increasing by more than that.
well, that's just it though. The special road and bridge tax is capped at 10 cents. We can't increase 3 cents if it takes 3%, if it takes over 10 cents. It is a hard cap at 10 cents. And they're saying that based on these tax numbers, our no new revenue rate is more than the 10 cents. So we've got to roll it back to 10 cents. It's not like the regular budget where we can do like that. The road and bridge.
It's always been more than 10 cents. We've taken that out of the general fund to offset that. It's always gone up more than 10.
No, it's always been under 10 cents.
Been
It's
the opposite.
always been like 8 cents. But we had to put it up to 10 cents, which took the money away from the end of that. 750 to a bit every year since y'all took on this special. And now this year, we got to pull it back.
Okay, what's gonna happen if we get into this and then all this changes again, because her figures ain't right. That don't match the economy at all.
How do you have? If we're taking whatever the number is back to make it 10 cents. How is the overall tax rate going up? If we're having to put money back into the general fund, how is,
Because
it makes no sense to
we're
me.
two entities combined in one. We have to do 2 worksheets, and she combines them to one, rate.
Right, but if we're in excess money on one side and we're having to put it into the general fund, that should lower the rate, right?
Well, she is. She's lowering back to 10.
Well, I'm back.
No, I'm talking about that should lower the county rate.
The county voter approval rate was
Ours is stuck at 10.
0.404834. The county special road was 0.104 whatever, and she adds those two together to come up with our rate. You don't take away that, we do, she does. You need to look at your worksheets.
Oh, I gotta understand the worksheets. I can look at them all day.
So what we're saying is our tax rate's gonna stay the same and we're gonna have this budget? Or we're actually going,
The tax rate's going up.
Increase. Right, it's going up. Our tax rate this year is going 405,869. And we're going to propose y'all 0.4290200.
that math don't work.
I
So-
can't argue anyone's numbers, I don't.
Right.
She prepares them. I did make the corrections that I see. But I don't have all the numbers that she puts in here, like pollution control, railroad rolling stock. I mean, those are her numbers. Those are coming from her, not me.
Did those increase greatly or something?
The railroad rolling stock needs to go up some.
This much?
No.
What's that?
One of the problems was our levies. What the evaluations that we had last year, because you all know we had a high protest last year, and they were still in the middle of protest when we approved our budget. And the levy that she's given me that's putting in this worksheet is different from what I worked with last year. And that's one of the questions I asked. And I'm sure it's gonna be from the protest. And also, I knew how the prior appraiser, I knew his numbers. And she has a different method, that's acceptable. She's a different appraiser. And so I'm adjusting to her new numbers this year as well. She has a different way to present her numbers from what the previous one did.
So according, the schedule. Budget calendar. Tomorrow we will approve the elected officials, proposed elected officials salary. And then, you say, you have on here that we will file the proposed budget with the county clerk tomorrow, is that correct? Well, it's not,
It's pretty-
okay. So is it okay then
It
we,
is okay. Yeah.
can we approve it? Can we approve it in a special meeting? Can we approve the budget in a special meeting, or does it have to be approved in a regular meeting? For the proposed budget,
The proposed budget is going to be approved. Will be voted on in August 14th.
August
That's
4th,
your budget.
okay,
Both budgets you can file. If you get ready.
okay,
And then the commissioners on August 14th will vote to accept, reject, or modify.
okay. And August 7th, it says the calculation for no new revenue and voter approval tax rates are due.
Yeah,
We have them now, if we believe them, so that's where we gotta roll on. And then, so we approve the budget. And then we have the public hearing on the 14th also, on the budget,
yes, the proposed budget.
right? That's where we approve,
You'll approve your budget, you'll
approve it with the condition to reject, accept, or modify, so we can still modify it after we approve it on the 14th. And then where we make the final,
also propose your tax rate.
okay,
Can we have Emily come in and explain this?
well,
Actually got these numbers.
we could ask her to come in tomorrow, if she's able to answer, questions. I'll contact her and see if she can come to the budget workshop tomorrow. And, address these things.
That tax rate setting that has to be done by the 14th or on the 14th. Suppose, because that's one where the super quorum is required.
I think when we adopt it is when the adopted, that would be in September.
Reason I'm asking, I'm supposed to be out of town that day. I just want to zoom into that meeting.
Okay,
But if they require a super quorum, I gotta be here, then I gotta make some adjustments.
I'm sorry.
So the reason I was asking, that's that last session of the Commissioners Court Leadership Academy. And so I'm supposed to be in A&M that week, and if the super quorum required, I want to make some kind of adjustments, but if it's not, then I can just zoom in.
yeah,
The vote to adopt the rate, there has to be at least four court members are required to be present and at least three in the vote. That's to be adopted. We want to adopt it. What's that?
Okay, that's not. Are we gonna have a commissioner in 2 by September, an interim? Or do you know?
it all depends.
What's the date in September?
The 11th is a public hearing on the tax rate, discuss consider adoption of the budget. Discuss consider ratifying the property tax increase reflected in the budget. Discuss and consider adoption of the 2024 tax rate for Van Zandt County. So that is on the 11th. September 11th, then the 25th. All of these are not major issues. We adopt a bunch of other policies like the holiday schedule and the fee schedules for the sheriff's office and fire marshal. So September 11th, be there or be square.
It's the super quorum.
Yes.
Don't have to measure the all four.
So back on this, so how did the revenue for road and bridge drop from what you originally projected?
I dropped special road tax. It increased the, increase in fuel in and out a little bit.
So the bottom line, what did it change? Just the fund balance? I mean.
It's about $500,000 difference, so it's about $125,000 per precinct. And I don't know how you increase of 100.
There's all four of them, and they were wrapped, I don't have them posted up on the board.
It's
I
through the board.
believe, Chad, I raised your, contingency by 50,000. He got a drop from road and bridge revenue. And right now, it's fair to give the number real quick, y'all, you know, how much that it dropped. From a desk. You're right.
I don't know. 3153, 3153.
Mine was up two from 2.5 to 2. That's request.
Yeah.
Requested from the board.
One revenue was lower by 144,000. But I adjusted your fund balance to go to about 250. So I increased your contingency by 50,000, Chad. Precinct 2's revenue dropped by 182,000. But precinct 2 has a lot of funds.
A lot of what?
Funds, so I actually increased that contingency up to 250, up 250 more for a new commissioner. Which, when I put it in contingency, they don't have to spend it. But it is available to them if they need it. Each year revenue dropped $210,955. So I had to lower your road and bridge materials to $1.2 million. From $1.5 million. To get you to 194,000 fund balance. You still have your 100,000 in contingency. And Brandon. Your revenue dropped to 150,000. So I dropped your road and bridge materials back down to $1.2 million from $1.3 million. And that was the changes I made. And you can look at the changes, and if you don't agree with me, yeah, just come talk to me, come see me. And we'll- These are the-
Yeah, because, I mean, my 2024 budget is my 2025 budget revenue is less than 2024. and I got a 3.5% increase in new growth. And I'm going down, something's up.
It don't make sense.
It's gonna be the difference between the mileage separation and the 75-25 and the percentage allotment. in the road bridge.
Your
It's gotta be
2024 revenue budget is 2,440,000. Your 2025 budget revenue is 2,560,000. So your revenue is up.
Then why he dropped 210,000?
Because I had it set at 2,007,000. But because of the shift in the special road tax,
Yeah, so what you're saying, the drop is from our original proposal. It's not a drop from last year.
no,
It's a drop from our original proposal.
budget that we had.
Using the preliminary estimated numbers, which said we had to put money back into road and bridge to get the rate back.
I'm dropping the 2024. I'm dropping the proposed numbers that we had.
Okay,
You're still getting an increase, but not as much as we had proposed. That's the bottom line. Cause this number right here,
And I'm sorry I didn't get to visit with y'all, but we just got those numbers. I worked all day yesterday just trying to figure them out.
You figure them out?
Well, I've just never seen the voter approval rate be higher than your actual rate. This is a first for me. So,
Especially with the growth we got, it doesn't make sense, something doesn't make sense.
so I reached out to her through an email yesterday that had voters.
So
The judge had probate or he had mills all afternoon, so we didn't.
No.
We didn't have.
we're gonna try to meet with her and see, but I like the idea. I'm gonna see if she can come to our budget workshop and
So what we had calculated, if this was gonna be our rate. If we weren't gonna do it this year, but if we would have kept the same rate. This year as we did, or next year as we did this year, we thought we'd have a $3 million increase.
Right.
And now we're at 42 and we only get.
Yeah.
It's not adding up.
I don't know.
Might be showing some more papers, so it makes more confused, but
All right, well, I'll reach out to her and see if she can make. Maybe not, but, or at least she can give us a document that explains why. So,
why is it I feel like we're the Trojans looking over the wall at a giant statue of a horse?
well, and we have taken the brunt of a unfunded mandate when, because of the way that the appraisal district is funded, and it's by all the taxing entities, paying them based on a portion of the amount of revenue that tax revenue they collect. And when the state legislature took away, they're having to collect money for the school districts. In other words, the $100,000 exemption. So now that's money's coming right from the state, and it's not being collected from individuals. That lowered all the school districts' amount of revenue collected, and then the allocation between that meant that the other entities, the cities and the county, get to pay more. And it came up to about $50,000 more last year and $50,000 this year. Plus they upped their budget significantly for the coming year because of software changes. So, but
I did want to bring up one I emailed you this morning, but might not say it. Judge Winters in his CCL, this year we had budgeted $81,000 for indigent labor. And with the projections, he's out of budget right now. Can't do a budget. And I think he's gonna hit right at 100,000 in his.
And he budgeted 81,000,
Yeah,
right?
he budgeted 85. I told him I would reach out to you guys and you probably need to bring that up. To at least-
Okay.
So what percentage are we capturing? 2.6, 3%? What are we doing? This proposed tax?
Post tax.
And what were the figures we worked with this budget? What percentage increase over last year's no new revenue we had? I wanna know where we're at in between there when we set this budget. Did we set it at no, by vote approval? We set it no revenue, we set it somewhere in between. What's that percentage increase in that finance fund?
Okay.
What's the revenue increase?
Well, one of the things that I discovered, and again, maybe we'll ask Emily if she's here tomorrow, is your voter approval rate or your no new revenue rate. You would think that you add 3.5% to that to get your voter approval rate, but it doesn't work. The number that we get is way below 3.5%, and I don't understand why.
Oh, yeah.
If you go look at those worksheets, you can start seeing all the adjustments that are put into that. You see it.
So even though we're allowed a 3.5% increase, it doesn't work out to be 3.5%.
Can't just go boom, boom, it don't work that, way. It's government. She puts in some protest figures, she puts in like this year, we had a big refund to somebody, that had to come off. Pollution control, which I have no idea what pollution control is. There's a lot of variation in that, on that worksheet. The worksheets are loaded, Judge,
Which worksheets is that?
once she's seen.
Oh, I don't want to go up. We won't get anywhere. It wouldn't be a productive use
We'll
of.
get more confused.
Yes. So, but anyway, I just want to point out that I think we have done a great job. And it's not us the commissioners and me, but it's actually the departments have done a great job in keeping their budget increases minuscule, or not minuscule, but lower, and actually saving us money in certain areas. And so I'm proud too that we're gonna keep with the 5% increase, be able to keep the increase currently. So one of the areas, since I would like to discuss, since Mitch is here, is has to do with the enterprise lease. Chad, you had indicated that you were working to phase it out by December 31st, and I believe Mitch has requested that we keep the lease.
And I just need to know, if he wants to keep it, we'll keep it budgeted. Matter of fact, in the agenda for tomorrow, the equipment that the lease will replace, I'm requesting permission to put on auction, so we're not paying insurance on stuff that's duplicated. But if Mitch don't want the lease, then I won't request auction, because he'll need the equipment.
Okay,
I just need to know which way we need to go.
okay.
So the equipment that you're wanting to put in the auction, is that dump trucks or patch trucks?
It's both. It's everything that the lease agreement replaces. But if you're not gonna take the lease, I'm not gonna put it in the auction because you'll need the equipment.
Why are we auctioning that stuff? The stuff that we own?
Well, there's no reason to be paying insurance and maintaining equipment that we're not using because we're getting it through the lease. The lease was designed to replace this equipment, and now that everything's finally in on the lease, it's time to auction the equipment. But if you don't want the lease, we'll cancel the lease and you can keep the equipment. I just need to know what you want to do.
I like to have both of them. I like to have it all.
Well,
I
then,
want my KD too. I know it sounds terrible, but.
Well, we can't operate that way. I mean,
Well,
I
I would
suppose,
like to, so we stepped down to a smaller dump truck. Which takes you longer to do your job. Is that correct? And you did that because you don't have CDL drivers.
It's the same size, you just gotta be careful not to overload it when you put material in. It's the same size as the other trucks. They're just rated for lighter weight, so you gotta be careful not to overload.
So the truck is a lighter truck. That's what you're saying.
It's rated for a lighter weight grade, but it's the same size.
Mhm.
And then you're getting rid of all your code.
Or keep it in one. Well, you'll have to redo the lease for one if you want it. The last lease will wrap up in December. And you can do a new lease in January. And there'll be one haul truck.
And you have a tractor for it?
Yeah, new haul truck.
Why I'll throw in my 2 cents. Don't do anything with it. Cause you've got your way of doing things. And Mitch says, well, I'm gonna do it this way, but. I don't think until he gets in there, to figure, well, man, maybe I don't need to do it that way. Maybe I need to do it this way. Just like he may say he's gonna not use a lease and use these, and he gets in there, well, maybe it's easier for me to do this, may change his mind. And if we don't sell anything, he can figure it out. And when he gets it figured out, all right, this is what I want to do. Let's put this at auction, or let's in the lease or whatever.
What condition are the patch truck, the older patch trucks in?
We was using them up to this last month, and the mechanic goes down and cranks them, drives them around every day, well, once a week or so, make sure they're running, they're working.
Could some of the other precincts use them rather than auction them off?
Well, I provided them the list and sent the email out, told them to look through it and see what they want.
I'm good.
Okay.
I think the issue with the lease is, the only way we can get out of the lease is if we don't have an appropriation for it in this year's budget, is that correct?
That's the issue. We have to not budget for it and then return the trucks on September 31st. So it's not
So
really an
he's-
option to keep both. You either have one or the other.
But because we've paid a capital reduction amount of $5,000 per vehicle. Or at least the patch trucks. Doesn't make sense to cancel it, until we kind of recoup our cost on that.
How many of the original dump trucks do you still have?
Oh, we're still in possession of all three. We haven't auctioned any yet. I'm adding these first two that's being replaced by the enterprise lease to this auction and keeping one of them.
You're gonna keep, or you're gonna keep one of them?
That way you still have three, because there was a third dump truck was gonna come in, but I put a hold on that one. And we can start talking about not keeping the lease.
So when if you put things in auction, I'll have 3 dump trucks.
You'll have three. You'll have one of the internationals and the two Fords from the lease.
The international requires a CDL though, right?
Yes, those are rated at over 30,000.
My problem is I'm not sure what I'm gonna have left as far as hands when I get there.
And
You
you'll have,
did mention that 3 people are leaving, so I don't know what's exactly leaving. I mean, I have some guys that will come in that have CDL license, but I don't know exactly I don't know what I'm making decisions in the dark, correct? So if I had my choice in it, I would just leave everything like it is, work off last year's budget, and I'll start over and I can evaluate it and see. I don't know the condition of we don't really know the condition of the reclaim. I don't, there's a lot of things I don't know the condition of those things.
Well, you'll have the option, do you have any equipment budgeted? Any purchases budgeted in your? Any dollars?
there's nothing budgeted, but they can move contingency down there if we needed to.
Okay, so you have the ability to move stuff around if you need to purchase something, but
And we used a reclaimer a few weeks ago. The steering motor went out, it's on order to be replaced.
Ground pressure good, all this, you think we good?
Run fine.
So I'm not flying in blind on what's gonna take me to the roads, and now I've built those before, some of this budget that y'all talk about is confusing too, but.
But we're not,
Instead of being confused with it too.
we're not leasing the reclaimer
Right,
and we're not auctioning a reclaimer.
I just know I've seen a lot of equipment not being used, and I don't know.
I'm
I
trying
don't
to
know what
auction.
condition. I mean, it sounds like 11, 18, the reclaim sat there for a long time, I didn't know if it broke out. that's the rig lamp that you're using. or-
The one on 1118 was broke down. It had a drop pod, but we got it repaired. And we've used it several times since. What you get into with a 30-something-year-old piece of equipment that's no longer manufacturer supported.
So if
We're talking about lease.
Right.
Don't hold y'all up.
okay, but we want to keep the lease. And that way you will have the equipment that you need to do your job as far as the dump trucks and the patch trucks.
I would think I would need 4 dump trucks. And at least 3 patch trucks. All that operation, you can keep your lease equipment. I'll do something, if I need to do something, I'm sure I'll do something. I don't care if they keep it all in the yard. I can evaluate what get there. But if that's what it needs to do, like I don't wanna get off that subject, so.
Well, if you keep the lease equipment, you can't, we're stuck with it till budget time next year. Cause you can't get out of it unless it's not budgeted. So in other words, what I'm saying is you can't come in, January, February and say, hey, I was wrong, I don't need this. No, you're gonna pay for it the rest of
I
that year.
understand that.
And so,
There's a reason that there was a reason that he went to that lease equipment. There was something going on with that other equipment that he wasn't sure about.
yeah, that's why,
It was old, it was wore out, and the cost to replace it, when I looked at buying a dump truck and 2 patch trucks every year. I can get the lease cheaper. I can get all the equipment now instead of trying to do it over 7 years. And every 4 years I get new equipment that's maintained that I ain't got to spend money on. It was a very logical thing, but you said it was a bad idea, you didn't want it, so I'm giving you the option to keep up with what you can think. I don't want it to be where Chad forced me to keep it. No, you have the option to turn it
I'm
down.
not here to argue. I'm telling you that I don't know the condition of the other equipment.
But I'm telling you, the condition of that equipment is, we kept it running. You work on it regularly, you have to have a good mechanic to maintain it. We kept it running, it's currently running. You're going to keep maintaining it if you want it. It's not practical for the county to sit on all the old equipment and sit on all the new equipment.
Even said, huh?
Waiting on your answer for the last 3 weeks. And now I'm ready to sell it so I can move it to road bridge materials and build more roads.
Why are we selling the motor tractors?
The what?
Are we selling the motor tractors?
No, sir.
Okay,
Those aren't auction.
so all you're putting in the auction is dump trucks and patch trucks.
That's what's on this list for tomorrow. It's what the enterprise equipment reflects.
And I'll get to keep 1 dump truck that the county owns.
Yeah, I'm only
One
replacing.
haul.
You good with that? Okay, that's what we're doing. So put the lease back in your budget if you would.
We'll move some of that contingency money, or you want to move material money, either way, it's got to be moved.
You need to make the road bridge.
Move the material money down, fill that slot, you have the lease equipment.
That's-
And I'm gonna proceed to go ahead and sell the old equipment then, that you now understand the condition.
So Bobby, you have any requests from Keith and his budget?
I like it.
You like it?
I trust Keith and I communicate very well, and I appreciate it, and I like that he does a good program.
Okay. All right, is there anything else we want to discuss on the budget today?
Sheriff, I know you got something.
We gave them, well, we compromised and gave them basically 4 positions, with 2 of those being repurposed, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
It's still on the
that's,
line,
that's
correct?
still in there, yes,
Yes.
yes, it is. And, so, all right. Then, I will have a bunch for tomorrow's workshop, and that's, assuming that, and also assuming it'll be long if, Emily's here. That'll take some time, but I'll check and see if she can make it. So, all right. Very good. Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes our workshop at 10:10 today. What is that message up there say?
Your battery.
Your battery is running low. Oh, it's my battery. Okay. No, it isn't. Yeah, it is. You got some time?
Yeah, I think I'll be back out to the sheriff's office, still on loading for the concrete one.
Oh, they're pouring? Maybe I'll try to make it out there for that.
4-year-old boots.
I'll be from the distance.